Scott's going to demonstrate a couple of different tasks for walking balance now. On this aspect, you'll see Scott intentionally bend at the knees and stay bent throughout the walk for some strength and coordination in the act of walking balance. Go ahead, Scott. Now on the way back, Scott's going to stand upright and try to keep his balance while he's walking backwards. That's good. This could be done in a hallway at home where you have also the protection of walls nearby or someone to walk with you. Jamie is going to demonstrate 4 separate walking balance activities now. She's going to start off by walking only on her heels. Go ahead, Jamie. For the second walking balance activity, Jamie is going to try to stay up on her toes, never coming down to touch her heels. Go ahead, Jamie. For the third walking balance exercise, Jamie's going to walk in tightrope or tandem walk with one foot directly in front of the other. Go ahead, Jamie. For the fourth of our walking balance exercises, Jamie's going to try to walk and rotate her head side to side. Go ahead, Jamie. Steve and I are going to introduce to you a very important aspect of walking balance. Something that we talk about in terms of walking is the fact that it's a motor memory, something that your brain really doesn't have to concentrate on, but it's got stored in the brain. Even when you have neuropathy, your brain still stores the task of walking. One of the best things that you can do is to keep your walk very automatic by distracting your brain away from thinking directly about the walk. One of the things Steve likes to do when he's trying to work on walking automaticity is actually count opposite or every other letter of the alphabet that keeps his brain occupied so his walk can be done automatically. You can do many different things to improve yourself in dual tasking. You can pull something out of your purse or out of your wallet. You can be texting or cleaning your glasses. You can be working with a pack of cards. And that's one thing that Steve and I are going to be doing now. In any way you engage in a dual task manner, you are intentionally trying to pull attention away from walking so that your walking can be done more automatically. Are you ready, Steve?
I am.
I'll flash the cards to him, and then Steve's job is to actually name what is the card by suit and face value. Okay. Go ahead.
7 of spades, 2 of clubs, Jack of hearts, King of spades, 4 of spades.
When the accuracy of your walking balance becomes very important because perhaps you have a very narrow walkway or there's a lot of pedestrian traffic or a lot of individuals just generally moving around you, perhaps even your own pets, one thing that you don't want to do is concentrate on every single step. One thing that Steve likes to do that works for him extremely well, and he did earlier today to travel out here in the airport, is to actually occupy his mind in such a concentrated manner that he can't think about his walking at all. So, as we walk this time, you'll hear Steve say every other letter of the alphabet, intentionally trying to think about or keep silent one of the letters in the middle. Are you ready, Steve?
I am.
Okay.
A, C, D, E. Generally, the first couple steps you take after you've been standing a while are hard to take until you get into a rhythm of walking. But if you do every other letter of the alphabet, particularly when you're in a tight spot, it generally learns to help. So I'll start off by going A, C, E, G, I.
Now we're going to work on a higher level aspect of dynamic balance up on the treadmill. Keeping in mind, some of what we're going to show you now can be done on level ground if you don't have access to a treadmill. One particular attribute of the treadmill that you can't get on the ground is that you have to keep up a constant walking speed. When you are doing a challenging balance activity on level ground, you can choose to slow down or to speed up. The treadmill's not quite as forgiving. It's going to be held at a constant speed. Now, when Steve and I first met just a few months ago, he was not able to walk on a treadmill without his hands on the railing. Go ahead, Steve. Now we're going to take him right up to a comfortable walking speed, and again, this is a way for you to be able to personalize your efforts by adjusting the treadmill speed. Steve's going to go to 1.6, and ultimately he'll take this up to about 2.1 miles an hour now. Recalling, this is the same gentleman that couldn't walk at 1 mile an hour with his hands off just a few months ago, but he went back home, worked on exactly what I asked him to work on. He's proficient with this. Now you see him walking here at 1.9 miles an hour, and he's working on keeping his walking quiet. He could be doing some of the dual tasking walking that we described earlier as well. Now we're going to show you a different attribute of walking. I don't want to shock you here, but this is also something that Steve could not do a few months ago. Steve, let's go down to 1 mile an hour, please. And Steve's going to change directions while the treadmill's still in motion. It'll be up to you to determine what's the appropriate speed, if this is safe for you to do or not. Steve's got this at 1 mile an hour. Go ahead and turn forward, Steve. A lot of times what we'll do when we're prescribing this is have an individual walk about 5 steps in each direction, then make a change. So here in some of the higher level applications, Steve's now showing you some effort to try to avoid a two-dimensional obstacle. Basically what I've done is drawn lines of chalk on the treadmill, and Steve now has to avoid them whenever they come up. Now I'm going to show you one other high-level attribute of balance since we're here on the treadmill. Remember, this is the bonus segment again. Okay, now Steve will slow you back down to 1.6. We won't worry about the lines for this. What I want you to do is actually read the sentence aloud, but fill it in with an alternate answer. You're welcome to hold it or not.
Better than never, blood is thicker than water, cleanliness is next to tardiness, curiosity killed the cat, don't bite off more than you can chew.
Okay, now
feed you.
Fill it in with an answer that's not supposed to be the common phrase.
Don't count your chickens before they're born. Don't judge a book by its head. Don't put all your eggs in one bucket. Early bird catches the bird. Empty bags cannot stand by themselves. Good things come to those who want
That
them.
is fabulous. Steve, let's give a thumbs up to everybody out there. That's very good. Okay, we'll hit the stop button
I'm going
now.
to tell you right now, without a doubt, that's the walking while talking, not concentrating on where you're stepping.
Yeah.
I walked the best when I was reading that.
Yeah, and
Okay,
this...
So it's truth in what you're saying, all about the cognitive thinking. You can do it, and you're convincing yourself because you're afraid of falling or afraid of hurting yourself. You're convincing yourself that you can't do it, and that's just truth. That's testimony to what we've been talking about right there.
And this is actually something we just recently worked on. This is brand new to Steve. He's never seen this before. So the effort to try to take a common phrase and as it normally would be finished, don't judge a book by its cover, don't put all your eggs in one basket, Steve has to inhibit the frontal lobe of his brain and come up with an alternate ending, which takes a lot of concentration and pulls it off of his walking. I was very impressed with how you did there. Good job. Jamie's going to show us another attribute of balance that we've been talking about while she's on a treadmill. Keep in mind, this may be higher level than you can handle right now, but it doesn't mean it's not something that you couldn't strive for. Remember, the underpinning of what we're shooting for here is actually working on your sense of balance. Okay, Jamie's walking at 2.5 miles an hour and she's going to close her eyes. This requires a very refined sense of balance because she has no sight of balance available to her whatsoever. Now you'll see Jamie is working on, again, another hybrid combination of endurance and balance and strength in function. She's walking with 4-pound weights around her ankles. On a treadmill, you again have to keep your pace up with whatever the treadmill set up. You can't slow yourself up and speed yourself down. You can do this very activity out on level ground if you'd like. Keep in mind, the main attribute or emphasis here is by putting the weights around your ankles, you're asking your body to lift your feet and clear your feet completely from the ground. If you're having difficulty by sometimes scuffing your foot on the ground or catching your foot and tripping, you may want to incorporate this into your exercise regimen so you are more trained to lift your feet up and endure with that activity.